Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome once again. I apologize for the break in our broadcast. And I guess I should really be happy. I should really say thank you. It's a blessing because there has been no power cuts for quite some time now in the middle of the show. So I think this is a blessing. So I'm going to take this and say all things come together for our good. Okay, so the show is now half an hour late. I'm not sure if you saw what I did earlier, um, the introductions and everything before the power cut, but I will start again. So I'm going to ask the higher power to bless us today and bless everything we do, say, and eat, and everything about this show, and make sure that we don't have any more power cuts in the middle of it or any cuts at all. Um, so what did we? I said yes. I was telling you. I told you about the what we are going to do. And today, like I was saying, I am going to go a little deeper into what we've been doing over the past few weeks. Over the past few weeks, we've been looking at different aspects of impact on our health in terms of the food we eat and what's been added to them, the thoughts we think, the words we say. We looked at Dr. Emoji's experiments on how our words and our thoughts impact. Well, he did his experiments on water, and we are 80 to 90% water. So we have to look at how those words and thoughts impact our body and impact our health, taking into account that we on our cells do have receptors for negative and positive. So we have to look at how to build our immune system and not wear it down. So we looked at children's health as well and how these things affect our children and their learning and behavior. And I'm going to go a little deeper this week because I find that a lot of people, a lot of you out there, you really don't take your health very seriously, do you? I know I'm laughing, but it's a serious thing. You tend to just say, well, this is how it is, and most people tend to wait until something drastic happens, until the body just knocks us down and says, oh, I've had enough, I just can't do anymore, done all I can, and you get knocked down with a disease or all sorts of negative things going on, either mentally, physically. And then that's when people tend to say, oh my goodness, I have to find out how to look after myself, and I have to start doing something to reverse this. Or when you can do, if you take your health seriously, you can prevent these diseases. You can live healthily. So it's about learning how to live healthily and how to manage these degenerative diseases when they do happen. Yeah. So over the past few weeks, that's what we've been doing. And this week, I am going to go a bit deeper. I'm going to dig deeper into this whole what I've been talking about over the past few weeks, the additions to our food, the chemicals, and the way we think, speak, etc. I'm just going to pick a few, and I'm going to look deeper into them so that you can begin to see the depth of impact that it does have on your health. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm going to give you, just so you know, the format of the show, which I said earlier. I don't know if it's out there. But the format is the show is that I do what I'm doing now. We start off with my introducing the ideas to you, what we're going to be doing. And then I'm going to be doing a recipe. And if you, like I said before, if you want to do the recipe along with me, you're welcome to send me an email. You can go to the link in bio on Instagram, and you can also send me an email, I believe, from YouTube. And you can, I will send you the ingredients for the list of ingredients for the next week's recipe. So if you want to work alongside me next week, you can go to the link in bio, click on the link that said recipe, it says recipe for next week, and I will send that to you and you work alongside me. And at least I'll know you're working alongside me. So I'll give you access to the interactive, the comment section. um, and then that would be exciting. A lot of people like to do that, because when I used to do the food preparation live, well, I'm live now, but I mean in a classroom, we used to have lots of fun doing it. Okay, so what I would like to say, I'm trying to keep it, even though the subject is serious, I'm trying to keep it light. And it's this week, I think I'm going to do my best to keep it light, but I'm going to dig deeper, because what I was saying earlier is that a lot of people just can't seem to take their health seriously. They just can't take it seriously until something drastic happens. And then they turn around and start to look how to correct that. But you can do a lot to prevent these diseases. Disease is not natural. In fact, it's the opposite to natural. So we have to look at ways that we can actually do our best to stay healthy. And this is what I'm doing along the way. I'm giving you tips and recipes. These recipes that I'm giving you week by week are recipes that I have been giving to my clients in my classes and my programs for over 2 decades, going on far past 2 decades. And these recipes have been an integral part of my programs. They are there to help you to manage and avoid degenerative diseases. Yes, so just in case you don't know me, I am Dr. Kalifa, and I have been doing this. I'm a holistic health and nutrition doctor, alongside other things. I also do neuroscience and other therapies, trauma therapy, other therapies. You can see on my link in bio, go and have a look at my bio there. And I have brought everything that I have learned over the years. I'm actually almost 70, will be 70 on my next, in the next few months. And I've brought together all that I have learned and put it into 3-month program. I do have a 4-week introductory program as well, but I put everything into that 90-day program, which is designed to not just to help you to reverse these degenerative diseases like diabetes, heart problems, arthritis, strokes, prostate issues, fibroids, endometriosis, the list goes on, cancer, the list goes on, neurological issues like Alzheimer's and other neurological diseases. And I help you to reverse those and to learn how to maintain your health so that you do not have to spend your life worrying about disease. You don't have to spend your life on pills. You don't have to spend your life in pain. You don't have to spend your life just fatigued all the time, so fatigued that you just cannot live life. You can, once you have reversed these diseases, your quality of life, it will change beyond your wildest dreams. I help you to do that. That's what I help you to do. And You can go to my link in bio, and click on the buttons there. And I know my website is not quite finished yet, so some of the buttons you click on might take you to a page which says it's under construction, but at least there's enough information there for you to see. And they go to the testimonials page, you'll see lots of video testimonials there. Go to the page for the programs. This 90-day program that I'm offering at the moment is a one-on-one at the moment. My offer is one-on-one, but I am also putting that in a digital form so you can access it and do it online, totally online, as well as the entry-level program, which is 4 weeks. The entry-level program actually, I did that because there were some people who found it very, very difficult just to jump in at the deep end. They wanted to be introduced gently to it, and that can happen if you're depending on the state of your health at the time. So you can, if you want more information, go and click on the link in bio and book. You can book a call with me. You can book a 15-minute free discovery call, or you can book a 1 hour consultation call, which is we have time then to talk in depth and for me to answer your questions. Yeah. So you will also find information on LinkedIn and here on YouTube, and everything is under construction at the moment. So just be patient with me. Everything is being worked on, and it's almost got to the stage where everything is ready. All the technical stuff is done. But in the meantime, take the opportunity to link up with me, have a chat with me, and I will show you how to book onto my current programs. Okay, let me see if there's anything I've missed out that I should tell you. Oh, share, like, subscribe, please. Okay, do all the things that the social media world does for me. Just do the like, do the share, do the subscribe. I do appreciate your efforts, even if sometimes I don't get back to you straight away. Okay. Okay, so the recipes like I said, the recipes I'm giving you are recipes that I have used in my programs to help people to manage their degenerative diseases and to prevent diseases, etc. They're part of some of them, or all of them actually, are part of my program that I run, and they have worked so well over these years. Yes, they have worked truly well. I've been doing this, like I said, for over 2 decades, and I have found that the recipes and the herbs and things that I give to people work extremely well. Okay, so by the way, I am Dr. Kalifa, and I am a holistic health and nutrition doctor and minister. I have been doing, like I said, doing this for over 2 decades now, and I help people to reverse degenerative diseases. Yes, to reverse degenerative diseases, you don't have to wait for it to become degenerative and to not simply knock you down, but I can help you to get back to a state of health and to live the rest of your life in health, without the pills, without the pain, without the fatigue, without the worry and stress about a future of disease, just disease, and living your life based around your disease. You can get well and you can live a good life. And I teach you how to do that, help you to reverse it, and how to live a life where you're not constantly worrying about disease now and disease in your future. So do get in touch with me, and I will answer any of your questions regarding programs, etc. Okay, so I'm going to get on with the recipe now. And what I was saying is that what I'm going to do today in the presentation is a deeper look into what we've been doing over the past few weeks. We have been looking at the impact of the chemicals in the food on our health. We've been looking at the impact of even our thoughts and the words we use, the impact of those on our health. We've been looking at just touching a bit on mindset, on our health. We've been looking at, we're going to look at today in more depth at the impact of certain things. I can only do a few today on the impact of those things on our health. But what I would like to say is the reason why I want to do this today, and I hope you will stay with me throughout the whole program, because it's important for people to understand that you have to take responsibility for your health. A lot of people don't tend to take their health seriously until it knocks them down with the disease. And then they get serious and look at how they can reverse the disease. But what I'm trying to put across to you is that it is best to take your health in your own hands, take responsibility for your health, and to take it seriously now. Your body is a temple. Yes, your body is a temple, and I'm sure if you went into any temple anywhere in the world, you would not treat it in the way a lot of people treat their bodies. So I want you to be aware of the impact that what most people are doing to their bodies is how it's affecting you. And that's what the presentation will be about today. So like, subscribe, and share. Yes, do all the things, the social media things there for me. Okay, so today's recipe, I'm going to do a dessert, one of my favorite desserts, because it has all wonderful things in it. And this one has, it's my soursop ice cream. And if you remember rightly, I think it was either it's week before the last, I did some soursop with you. I did the soursop juice and showed you how wonderful and how nutritious the soursop is. And we're going to look at that today. And I mentioned at the time that the soursop has been, research is showing that soursop is so absolutely wonderful. It actually is thought to kill cancer cells in our bodies. And we've known for a while now that soursop supports the heart. And we want to support the heart, especially for persons who already have diabetes, because remember, over 50%, yes, over 50% of persons with diabetes actually die from heart failure. So even though if you have diabetes, you can help yourself with these, or any degenerative disease, your diabetes, cancer, arthritis, fibroids, endometriosis, prostate issues, neurological issues like Alzheimer's and other neurological issues. All of those diseases, you can benefit from all of the recipes that I'm giving you throughout these programs. Yes. So, like I was saying, we're going to do our soursop dessert today, a soursop ice cream, and I'm going to make, as you know, chocolate. Raw chocolate is one of my favorites as well, and I've done quite two or three things with chocolate so far. So you know the enormous benefit of chocolate, the pure chocolate. And I'm going to do a chocolate sauce to go on the ice cream today. Okay, so without further ado, let me take a look at the recipe. I'm going to, at the end, did I say the format of the show? I did it earlier before the power cut, but the format of the show is that we do the recipe and then I do the presentation. and then I do a short meditation with you before we finish the show. Okay, so I'm going to also look at how where these ingredients come on our rainbow, which I'm working on with you each week. Okay, so let me see what my ingredients are. Oh, here we are. Okay, so I'm in the soursop ice cream. You're going to need one medium to large soursop. And let me just get the one out. I've already made some. Right, this is a fairly small soursop that I prepared the large one and put it in the fridge. I should have done it from last night because it needs to be frozen. But I got up early. I forgot last night, and I got up early and made one and put it in the squeezed it and put it in the fridge. And I'm going to squeeze this just to show you what it looks like and how it's done. So you need the soursop. You're going to need a quarter cup of coconut cream, and I have put the coconut cream in the fridge as well to be frozen, because I used to use frozen natural yogurt, but I cannot find the natural yogurt where I am. So I'm going to use the coconut cream, and I also use natural cream so as well. So I'm going to use the coconut cream as a substitute, and I'm sure it's going to work well. Yes. And if it doesn't, we're still going to eat it, aren't we? We're going to yam it. Okay. And I'm going to have a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of, actually it's a 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 2 tablespoons of flaxseed. Now, it's ground flaxseed, and I have put it to soak in some of the coconut cream because I want it to be really, really soft. Yes, for the ice cream. We don't want it grainy in the ice cream. So this is the pure natural flaxseed that you can see there. And I used... normally I would use agave, but I'm trying something new because a lot of people are finding that the agave is quite expensive. So what I've done here, I've used some coconut sugar, which is this here, and I've put it in some coconut oil so that it will melt. And this is going to be an experiment for me today because I've not done that before. I usually use the agave syrup in it. That's to make the chocolate sauce. Okay, so that's it. You can soak, if you don't have enough coconut cream, you can always soak the flaxseed in water, but don't put so much in that it's going to adjust the consistency of the ice cream when you blend it. Okay, so I've got quite a couple of things that I'm just experimenting with, and hopefully it will turn out perfectly, or maybe even better. You never know. So let me just quickly show you. I'm not going to take you through this because I'm going to show you the one that I did earlier. And let me get the chopping board here. And I hope you can see me. You can see what I'm doing. We've got the soursop there. So I'm going to wash my hands and then I'm going to peel it. This is a very simple but very nutritious, and most of these recipes you'll find I'm doing on here are very simple very nutritious, absolutely gorgeous recipes, very healthy. So I just tend to cut the soursop down the middle. This comes from the local tree. Uh, and I'm just going to take out the middle bit there. You don't even have to do that because you're actually going to be squeezing it. So we'll just take off the skin, just like that. Get rid of the outer skin. You can tell when it's right because it gets kind of shiny and the prickly bits become wider apart. So that's when I pick it off the tree. Okay, so I need a bowl here. I'm going to put that in the bowl. If you can see it there now that it's peeled. And let me do the other half. And like I said last week, and I think I said earlier, the soursop has been proven to be extremely nutritious for the human body. And it for years, they thought it was just something that supports the heart. And recently, they've been doing more research and finding that the soursop actually kills cancer cells in the human body. So this is a very, very precious healing food. And it's something that we can look to keep in our diets on a regular basis. So we have the soursop there, and I'm not going to add water or anything to it. All I'm going to do is to squeeze it. Yes, and if you can see that there, let me put it on top of the board, the chopping board there. So I hope you can see what I'm doing there. And I'm just squeezing it. I haven't added any liquid to it. Just squeezing it as much as possible to release the juices from the pulp and the seeds. And so I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing that, just showing you what it looks like. And then what I did was to squeeze it into a bowl. So I'm going to put this into my squeeze bag. This is my squeeze bag here. I use it for when I make, when I'm squeezing anything, when I'm straining anything, or when I make nut milks like coconut milk and almond milk, etc. I just put them in the blender, pour it into this squeeze bag, and Bob's your uncle. There you go. All right, so we're squeezing out the juices there. See, there's quite a lot of juice in this small one. So the one I put in the fridge was about twice the size of this. So there's lots of juice there. Yes, and you can see there, I'll finish this later, but you could even, if you wanted to, say you were just making the juice to drink as it is there, you could put a little water on this and squeeze it again. But there's quite a lot of juice that comes out of it anyway. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside for later. I'm going to drink that. And I'm going to bring out the one I did earlier. Okay, so I have this one that I did earlier here, and also I've got the coconut milk. It looks frozen now. So this one was the coconut milk in the tin. And sometimes what happens is that the watery bit goes to the bottom and the coconut milky thing comes to the top, and you can separate it. It separates itself. But this, I shook it all up automatically and forgot that I was going to do that. But it doesn't matter. We've still got the right. We'll still get the right consistency. So you can see there, it's partially frozen, not as frozen as I had hoped, but hopefully we can still work with it and get the ice cream going. Okay, so I'm putting that in the blender. You can see it there. And I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of the coconut milk. Let me get the spoon. Ooh, oops, oh dear, this is definitely frozen on the top. Okay, so let's take off the more frozen bit off the top. And put about a 1/4 cup in there in the blender. Let me get a knife and help me get this frozen bit loose. Of course, if it was yogurt, which is what I would normally be using, it wouldn't be, I wouldn't need to freeze it. But then again, I might just try it with frozen yogurt. So that's about a 1/4 cup of coconut milk there. And you know the value of the coconut. I don't have to tell you that over again, because I tend to use coconut a lot. Okay, so we've got about 1/4 cup there of coconut milk. And I'm going to put my addition to this recipe for the first time, my flax seeds. And you might know already that flaxseed is excellent to provide omega-3 fatty acids to the body. And it also has digestive properties as well to help aid the digestive system. Let me just see, teaspoon cinnamon, and oh no, not that, it's cinnamon and vanilla. 1 teaspoon cinnamon, 1 teaspoon vanilla, and 2 tablespoons. I've got the flax seeds already. So let me get the teaspoons there. Yes, and the flaxseed is excellent also for lowering cholesterol. It's very high in fiber as well. What's this? A teaspoon, great. So let me put a teaspoon of the vanilla extract in and a teaspoon of the cinnamon. Okay, what else have we got to put in there? So we've got the 2 teaspoons, 1 teaspoon, soursop, 1/4 cup of coconut cream frozen, and also freeze the soursop as well if you're going to make the ice cream. 1 tablespoon cinnamon, vanilla extract, flaxseed ground, and I'm putting some maca powder in there as well. I'm putting a tablespoon of maca powder, and maca powder is very good for aiding virility in both men and women, and it's also excellent for regulating women's hormones. Okay, so I put a tablespoon and a half in there. Couldn't help myself. Okay, so I'm going to put my experiment on the blender now and see how it goes. And then after I've done that, I'm going to put it back in the freezer and let it kind of ice cream up while I do the chocolate. Okay, and this is done already. I'm not going to do it. Normally, when it's frozen, you'll see four lumps in the Vitamix, four kind of mounds. And this is about the consistency that I'm going to do this because I don't want it to melt. Okay, so now I'm going to put it in a container and put it in the freezer. Where's that plastic one? So it's not too bad a consistency. It's a bit loose, but once it's been in the fridge for a bit, it will be fine. Okay, so I'm going to put that in the fridge, in the freezer again, and let it harden a bit. Okay, so that's the ice cream done. If I had frozen it last night, or if the yogurt and the fresh natural cream was in it, we might get away without having to put it back in the freezer. Well, we would get away without having to put it back, but I would still put it back in there anyway. Okay, so where are we now? Like I said, I'm trying different things today. I've actually got the coconut sugar in here to make the chocolate. And as you can see, the coconut sugar, I put, I think it's about 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar in there. Don't want it to be too sweet because the soursop is already sweet. And I'm going to add a little vanilla and cinnamon to this as well. Okay, so I'm gonna actually not vanilla, just a little cinnamon, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and I'm going to put another teaspoon of coconut oil in here to mix it, because normally I'd be putting the agave in there, and that gives it the consistency. If you want it to be runny, you put more agave and or coconut oil. If you want it to be harder, then you put less. Okay, so I'm going to now mix that up, and I'm going to mix in some chocolate. I'm going to mix the chocolate in bit by bit so I can manage the consistency of it. Okay, so let me put in a tablespoon. Let me wipe this clean. Put in a tablespoon first and mix it in gradually, because we want it to be kind of to remain fairly runny, so we can dress the ice cream with it. So you can see there, this is 100% pure cocoa. Some people call it cacao. I'm used to calling it cocoa, the cocoa bean. So, right, I can do, you can see it's quite runny there. Yes, it's fairly runny. It's beginning to look gorgeous though. And I'm going to put another tablespoon of cocoa powder in, and 2 tablespoons should do the trick. Like I said, I'm experimenting again today. There we go. That looks like it. So you'll find that if you were to make this and put it in the the ice tray or the chocolate tray and put it in the fridge, it would harden, and you got your chocolate bars, your little chocolate bars out of it. So you can see there, the consistency is still quite runny. I'm just going to have a little taste. Yeah, that's about right. Because what you don't want to do is add so much chocolate that it starts to get slightly kind of bittery. But this is tasting very nice. So we can use that as a kind of coulis, kind of dressing for the ice cream. Okay, so that is it. The ice cream will not be ready yet. I'm going to put this in the fridge, not in the freezer, because I don't want it to get hard. And so that's that. And let me just go over the nutritional benefits. Like I told you what the maca does and the flaxseed. Let me see what else I have left here. I'm just going to look at the nutrition on the rainbow and the soursop. I think if I remember rightly, the soursop comes into the green white part of the rainbow, and that contains indoles, lutein, which eliminate excess estrogen and carcinogens in the system. What else was there? It was just the soursop, really, wasn't it? You didn't have any other vegetable or fruit, just the soursop. So that's it, really. Excellent, excellent dessert, great for the children. And if you wanted to expand on that, you could make a bigger portion. Oh, let me get you looking at me, or me looking at you, whichever. You could get the bigger portion, make a bigger portion of the cocoa, the chocolate, and put that into the little trays, like I said, and let them put it in the freezer or the fridge, and it will harden, and you'll have your little chocolate bars there. And this is a great, great meal for the children. Great dessert. Yes. And of course, we have the juice that we can just drink. So let me get my cup. And since it looks like, where's my glass, my big glass gone? Oh, here it is, got it full of water. Since it looks like I'm not going to be able to eat the, well, maybe I'm being a bit presumptuous there. I may not be able to do the ice cream while with you to show you, because it might not be hard enough. I'm going to drink my soursop juice. And this is just pure soursop juice. I prefer it like this, actually, because when I eat it raw, just straight, the pulp tends to stick in between my teeth and things. So it's nice just to squeeze it and don't add anything to it. Don't, like I said last time, it's best just straight, no water, just squeeze it as it is. If you want to stretch it a bit, you can add some pure spring water to it. And you can even, if you want to, add a little spice. But I love it just the way it is. So cheers, everyone. I can also almost feel my heart jumping and laughing and clapping. And this is very sweet. Yes, you don't need to add any sweetener to this at all. Gorgeous. It really is lovely. And fresh and Okay. So we've done the recipe, and now I am going to do the presentation with you while we are waiting on everything in the freezer. Okay. So like I said, stay with me throughout this because this is important, even though it may get a little kind of technical-ish. It's important that you understand what I'm about to show you. So we talked about excitotoxins at one stage, and I'm going to go deeper into those. And believe me, there are tons and tons more chemicals that are in the food that really ought not to be there. But I'm going to just focus on these few today so that we can get through this as quickly as possible. So what are excitotoxins? They're substances that overexcite our brain cells and cause them to fire rapidly and then die off very quickly, usually within 1 hour. So we lose brain cells rapidly when we are taking in these substances that overexcite the brain cells. They're especially damaging, as I've said before, to the developing brain. They cause lesions in the brain. And a lot of research has been done in the field of neuroscience recently that shows the connection to brain disease like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. The number one source of these excitotoxins is our food, and it's added by the processing industry in very large concentrations. And they actually came across it because they found that pilots were passing out during their flights. And I mean, yeah, you don't know what's going on in the cockpit, do you? And when they did investigation into it, they found that the pilots were drinking coffee with NutraSweet, and it was causing them to have seizures while they were in flight. And it's the aspartame in the NutraSweet that was causing the problems with their brains. So aspartame is linked with brain toxins. It increases the risk of cancer. It's linked to ADHD. And it obviously is very dangerous to our brain. The second one is fluoride, which is in our water. We were told that the fluoride in the water prevents cavities, and that fluoride reduces and that it reduces tooth problems. But fluoride is quite dangerous to be in our water, for us to be taking in our bodies. Fluoride reduces reproduction, our body's ability to reproduce. It causes a reduction in testosterone levels in the males and reduces his ability to reproduce. It damages blood vessels supplying blood to the brain and causes the neurons in the brain to die off. It causes behavioral problems and is absorbed into our plants and food because it's in the water, obviously. And unfortunately, nothing is being done to, as far as I know, to stop using the fluoride in the water. It is claimed that fluoridated water prevents cavities, but research is showing that it's not true. And some studies have shown an increase rather than decrease. So fluoride is actually banned in Europe. Fluorination increases the risk of cancer, and studies show that about 10% increase in cancer death. It produces a number of types of cancer, including liver cancer. increased fractures of the hips, especially in the elderly, and has a negative effect on the brain. It can cause hyperactivity before birth. You remember we talked about some of the things that affects the child while in the womb. This is one of them. And later in life, it can lead to lethargy. It accumulates in parts of the brain that control behavior. The baby food that you buy out there, remember initially I was showing you how to make your own baby food, was they were using reconstituted tap water, and it accumulates in the human body, especially in the thyroid gland, and leads to hypothyroidism and which is low function of the thyroid gland. In pregnancy, babies are also born with brain problems due to the dying off of the neurons. It coats the pineal gland, yes, which is not good at all. It's one day we'll talk about the importance of the pineal gland. It's said to be our spiritual connection out there. The pineal gland connects us to the highest spiritual side of ourselves. And if the pineal gland is coated, it's a bit like when you boil water in your kettle, and after a while you find that buildup of the deposits, the calcium, the deposit, you know what I mean, inside the kettle. Or if you leave water sitting in a glass for a long time, you start to see that coating there. That actually happens in the brain, and it coats the pineal gland. It causes damage to blood vessels supplying blood to the brain. And if you think about it, it makes sense really, because if you leave your water standing for a while, or you boil water in your kettle or your pot or whatever, after a while, you find that the kettle is coated on the inside with this coating. And if you're drinking water and it's traveling through your blood vessels all the time, and it's going into certain parts of your brain, it's going to leave those same deposits in there. So you'll find that your blood vessels start to get narrower and narrower because it's being coated with this residue from the water, the fluoride. The ADHD, the ADA, American ADA, look it up for me, admitted that it does cause harm. Yes. Another one of them is chlorine. Chlorine is actually one of the most toxic substances known to man. Now, did you hear me? It's one of the most toxic substances known to man. And it dries our skin. You know, when you go into the swimming pool, I try not to swim in swimming pools. I love swimming, but the swimming pool, when I come out of the swimming pool, when I do it regularly, my skin dries up. I have to put tons and tons of oil, and my hair starts to break off and stuff, and it destroys the beneficial bacteria in the colon. Yeah? Plus, its byproducts are all proven carcinogens. They cause cancer. Right? The cancer risk amongst people drinking chlorinated water at the time this was written was 98% higher than those who do not drink chlorinated water. There's a higher incidence of cancer of the esophagus, the rectum, the breast, and the larynx. And there is also a higher incidence of Hodgkin's disease. Chlorine is implicated as a major factor in the onset of atherosclerosis and the resulting heart attacks and strokes. And you can see why. Chlorine narrows the blood vessels that feeds the heart. And so when you start getting blockages and you start getting, high blood pressure, you start getting all these problems with your heart, think about that this is one of the problems. It narrows the blood vessels that feed the brain and is implicated as a major factor in the onset of senility. Although chlorine has stopped the spread of many waterborne diseases, it still presents serious long-term health implications for us as humans. And it needs, as they say, that it needs to remain part of the purification system. But are they looking for anything else? Are they looking for other ways for purifying our water? It's you're purifying the water, but using something that is actually probably more dangerous. Yeah? But you need to remove it from your house supply. And those are some of the things that I teach. Lead is another one, and lead has been recognized for some time now as a very dangerous element. And I know it's been removed from the petrol or gas, for cars, and it's been removed from certain building materials and things now, and it's been removed from pencils. You remember we used to have lead pencils. It's been removed, but the effects, whenever we ingest lead, which we still do from some things, the effects is harmful to the brain. It causes learning problems, memory issues, cognitive functions. It has negative effects on our reproductive system and the development of the brain of our children. So wherever there is lead, some preservatives, I believe, are still have a check first to make sure that what you're buying and what you're putting in your body has no lead in it. Monosodium glutamate, yes, MSG. MSG and sodium nitrate are found in all processed foods. It's hidden as different names, including yeast extract, etc. It's even in health food stores sometimes. So watch for the hidden names, which I'll give you some examples of as we go along. And I'll tell you the history behind it. Japan used a flavoring called, I think it's pronounced siatango. Way back at the beginning of the 1908 or somewhere around there. It was examined and found that the taste enhancing compound was glutamate. MSG has great potential to enhance food. And they formed a company, a manufacturing company, manufacturing MSG. But they were adding it in very much higher concentrations than they were formerly using. And after World War II, they realized that the soldiers' foods, the Japanese soldiers' food, was tasting much better than the other soldiers. So they also introduced MSG to the large food manufacturers. It enhances bad tasting food. So you can imagine if they had food that was having to be transported over long distances, etc., then once they put that in there, then the food tastes great and tastes fresh, and they think that the food is absolutely wonderful. But it would restore and magnify the taste by stimulating the cells in the brain. Yes, it was stimulating the cells in the brains to make people believe that the food tasted good, even though it was probably partially rotten and bad tasting. From 1948 to 56, food processors were adding very large amounts of MSG to food, and they just assumed it was safe. But apparently, at the time, it was never tested. It was even added to baby food. And in 1957, studies were done on rare eye diseases. that revealed that MSG destroys nerve cells in the retina of the eye. And in 1968, some further studies were done, which shows that it destroys critical parts of the brain. And those parts are involved in strokes, severe hypoglycemia, Alzheimer's. And this study was presented to the food manufacturers, but they rejected it because it was a multi-billion-dollar industry. They claimed they remove it from the baby food, but later on it was discovered that they were actually just disguising the name. And 10 years later, more research showed that it was destroying brain cells. The industry didn't tell the truth about the danger at the time, and apparently they disguised the names with all sorts of things such as textured protein, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, hydrolyzed plant protein, natural flavoring, natural spices, broth, or even contains no MSG. Yeah? And the law at the time, I'm not sure if it's been changed yet, but the law up until fairly recently says that only if they have 99% or more of MSG do they need to put it on the label. So a lot of these spices and ready-made seasonings and processed foods and things, they're not going to put it on the label because it's not required. Yeah? And those foods, the foods that are especially high in excitotoxins are things like ready-made gravy, salad dressings, these diet foods, commercial soups, all of this type of, I would say, processed foods have high concentrations of MSG. And I know it was banned in Europe some years ago, but I know that if you go to the shelves in the supermarkets around Jamaica, around the Caribbean, I think, and places in Africa, you will find that they're still selling bags of MSG straight to the public. So let's go a little deeper even than that. What happens to the nerve cells when they're exposed to these excitotoxins? There are problems in different tissues causing different diseases. Brain injuries, stroke, hypoglycemic brain damage, AIDS, dementia,